Hello guys, welcome to another cheating story. We've got some really exciting cheating story. Watch until the end, you'll be shocked as the last bit will blow your mind. This morning, as I did yesterday, I woke up feeling broken, used, and ultimately unimportant. It's been 8 months since my ex-33 female cheated on my I-29 boyfriend. As I was away from home, building my career and providing for her and her 2 beautiful sons, she cheated on me with several men, including some of her exes. When I started, I told myself I was working to support her and her children. On the days I wasn't around, however, she'd go out drinking and sleeping with friends, leaving the kids in the care of their younger sister. Occasionally, she'd disappear for a weekend without returning my calls. Since I tend to trust others without question, I didn't give it much thought. I didn't find out about the sneaky goings-on with men in the house while I was away until her younger sister finally opened up to me about them. The fact that I had come to genuinely care for her and the kids made me feel like my entire world had collapsed. I deleted her from all my accounts, left, and found a new place, but her sister and I remained in contact, and she assured me that she was still riding that carousel. A month ago, she made another attempt to contact me, but I was busy then. She eventually came to my place of employment to find me. The kids miss me, and I know better than to get back with a cheater, despite her claims that the opposite is accurate and that she has never loved anyone else. The part I'm unsure how to handle is getting over the fact that she cheated on me and feeling like a lesser man than the other guys. After 8 months of hard work, the business I gave up a lot for is starting to take off, and things are looking up monetarily. However, I can never fully enjoy life because of this nagging sense of loss that never goes away. Yet here I am, heartbroken, while she continues to have the time of her life going from one man to the next. Just like I said, nothing. People rally to this person's defense. Bell 17 declares, "The first step is to stop talking to everyone, including the sister. There's no reason for you to be interested in her daily activities." The issue of low self-esteem follows. You probably feel like she didn't commit to you fully, fall in love with you, etc., because of you. But this isn't a Mickey Mouse cartoon. You can love someone forever, and they still won't change. You may feel like you weren't good enough if they chose not to, but good enough for whom, exactly? For a woman who cheated on you, slept with other men, abandoned your children, went out drinking, didn't care about anyone but herself, etc. Can your value be gauged by this person? You're in the excellent company already. However, you could always improve your odds by joining a gym, upgrading your wardrobe and home, etc. Why not get out on some dates and expand your social circle if you're single? OP gives his response. So that's why they say that. Putting my value in her eyes and letting that affect me. I've been keeping up with my workouts, and so far, I've found a great gym with all the latest equipment and a well-stocked wardrobe. It could be difficult for me to open up to new people because of the lingering sour taste of betrayal from my past. CDB. The world outside adds its voice. It seems like she needs to make more progress. She has made it this far by constantly playing the role of the helpless victim. The public approves. Getting comfortable is boring. They don't have faith in it and can't keep it up. You're making progress on a substantial project. It is her responsibility to feel guilty about their relationship. Determine your limits and your standards. As a result, you'll be better able to identify a partner worth your time. Sorry. This happened to you, Hopi. Extremely disheartening. Holy crow. You're way more of a man than any of those other guys could ever be. Opie, you've gone above and beyond caring for her and her children. What you're doing is admirable and lovely. Really, I'm sorry that was taken away from you. If she seems to be bouncing from guy to guy, try not to pay too much attention to her actions. They've really upset her. She is disgusting because she is so miserable with her own life. As an alternative, find a community that encourages you to try new things while supporting your growth as an individual. Keep yourself occupied with activities that divert your attention away from those negative ideas, and instead, concentrate on loving yourself. One day you'll wake up and realize that you're better than she could ever treat you. Begin slowly putting yourself out there and appreciating the catch that you are. In one sentence, what would you tell Opie? In the meantime, our next group is the unhappy cheaters. I feel terrible for them. What gives them the right to happiness? When is all said and done? To be better partners for them, we remained devoted and loyal, made personal sacrifices, and improved our character flaws. Despite all of the effort put into the relationship, they cheated. Without a second thought, they gave up on us. As a result, They are now carelessly jumping from one relationship to another. Meanwhile, we're still here, reeling from the loss and picking up the pieces of our hearts and hopes one by one. Even so, these are good times. They appear content after some time has passed, whether weeks, months, or years, while we are left to deal with the suffering they caused. Family and children were two of our favorite things in the world. That's how little value we had to offer in exchange for a few hours of joy with an affair partner. What little they did know was quickly forgotten. I get that life isn't fair and that karma doesn't exist, but why do these people always seem to come out on top and be able to hop from one guy to another with a smile on their faces while we, the better partners, take the hit and feel the pain for years on end? The first to react is light citron at a pH of 64. Keep in mind that it is impossible to know the interior state of another person. Comment from Guava86, 27. Someone who has found lasting happiness. Cheaters are experts at using delusion to cope with their emotional pain. Otherwise, they never feel safe doing it. Don't get worked up. My heart goes out to them. In their hearts, they will always feel hopeless. That's what they figure they're capable of doing already. This idea was generated by a user who then discarded their account. Oh. P. I read your previous post in which you described your ex. There is no denying that she is a damaged human being. Her penchant for wild behavior suggests that the only thing that makes her feel good about herself is the approval of others. She will never understand what it is like to love someone from the outside in because she is a miserable, pitiful person. It's all an act, but she seems carefree and happy. You are trustworthy and can genuinely care for another person. You're a much more admirable human being than she is. Taking some time to recover is very important. Figure out how to enjoy and appreciate your own company. In the end, you must forgive your ex. Please work through your feelings and wish her well. Cutting all ties with your ex means she can no longer influence or even enter your thoughts. Sending best wishes for your continued success, Opie. It's unfair that this happened to you. Moreover, you won't just make it through this, you'll thrive. Bowman. Dave, this nice idea dates back to 1968. My ex-wife had a wild party girl lifestyle, going from one man to another, and it was painful to watch her move so quickly through the stages of sexual intimacy. At a formal gala event, I see her again. We're a group of friends and I'm there with my lovely wife. My ex-wife, who is in her 40s, is wearing a cocktail dress that is 2 sizes too small while she dances with a woman in her 20s. Attempting to pick up men at a function that was not meant for that purpose, they wander the venue doing so. Because of that, she never moved on with her life, never married, and never had children, even though she always rushed to do these things with me. I put my arm around my wife, laughed my ass off, and when the party was over, I went home to my awesome life, not knowing who or what she went home to and not caring. I have it all. A terrific long-term marriage, great kids, great friends, and great financial success, the results of decades of hard work and living with integrity. Contrary to popular belief, karma does not function like a magical justice scale. Karma is the inevitable consequence of doing things. It may take some time, but things eventually work out. Happiness is not the OP, in my opinion. When people are unhappy, they look for solutions outside of their relationships to satisfy their egos and their need for immediate gratification. Because they don't believe they deserve good things, they must destroy them and cause pain to good people. In most situations, this is indeed the case. The tragedy is that their decisions leave them emotionally scarred. To put it bluntly, this is one hell from which escape is impossible. On the other hand, we need to find a way out of the shadows. Self-care and attending to our desires is the most important thing we can do. Pay less attention to their actions. They have reached the point of irrelevance. And now, what are your thoughts on this? We've won when you look into each other's eyes again and don't feel a flutter of butterflies. If you've seen the ex, you probably heard of it. What happened after they broke up? Why did this occur? Does this sound like something that's happened to me recently? While at a gas station, I refueled and went inside to make my purchase. I was waiting in line at the time. From the station's windows, I spotted a car I recognized, and I saw a woman I realized enter the building and go to the end of the line. It was my ex's. After I paid and left the store behind the line, she finally noticed me. On my way out, I made an effort to make eye contact with her. The entrances. No doubt in her mind that I made eye contact with her. Her pupils widened slightly, and she looked away from me, but that was it. I didn't experience the karma or release that I was seeking. Is anyone else still in touch with their ex after a divorce or breakup? And if so, how was the experience? Director 25 to 30 says I unexpectedly saw my ex-wife. As I walked into the dry cleaners next door, I noticed someone leaving the nail salon. Slowly, a Honda CR-V drove past me as it emerged from the dry cleaners. The cabbie gave me a puzzled look and kept staring. The vehicle was one I had never seen before. The woman was overweight by 40 to 50 pounds, had platinum blonde hair, and had excessive makeup. A mysterious phone call came in later that night. It was my ex's. You could have waved at me, she said to start the conversation. Suddenly, it clicked, and I knew who had been behind the wheel of the Honda. No more presents could be given to me. She promptly hung up glass individual 9203 advertisements after I told her it was her damn doing. A little over 6 years after the divorce, I ran into my ex-wife at the supermarket. My wife and I made eye contact, so I knew I wasn't alone. God bless my wife. She lowered her eyes and walked down a different aisle when I asked if I could talk to my ex. I told her I had nothing to say, and we continued shopping silently. After her affair, why does Papaya 6 say such a thing? I put forth the effort, but in my heart, I knew I had fallen short. It was possible that I would be promoted to the main office. I told her I would leave without her and that the divorce was final. After moving away and returning for the divorce's finalization 3 years later, I went out to eat while visiting my parents. I pulled into the driveway, got out, and said, "Why is X standing in my driveway? Go talk to her." "No thanks." About 15 minutes after, I thought I saw her but wasn't sure. As I was pulling up to my parents' house, I saw her pop out of a car. I pulled into the driveway, got out, and said, "At last, my mom understands." She goes out for a few minutes, then comes back in and is shocked to find that you are still having trouble. Really? I don't hate her, but I also don't like her. The truth is that I don't feel anything. When I finally saw her, all my feelings for her were gone. The nighttime encounter you and the mini tanker man had sounded remarkably similar to the one I had. We halted so that I could fill up with gas. When I went to get my change and walked back to my car, I noticed her standing by the door, beaming. Nothing more than apathy prompted me to walk by her. You've arrived at your destination. You need to be completely emotionless and numb. Your ex-partner is about as valuable for you as a wooden post by the roadside. There is absolutely nothing to see here, so relax. I have set you free, my friend. When you close your eyes and experience no sensation, that's a good sign. In other words, it expanded. That's not meaningless. No rule says you have to interact with them in any way. You're no longer on familiar ground with this person. Having thoughts in, finally, having experienced infidelity do not render you defective. He broke my heart and shattered my faith in humanity. My first husband sexually assaulted me and abused me emotionally. Almost a decade had to pass before I could put a name to the abuse he inflicted upon me. That's when I decided to legally separate from him. Here comes the good news. When I married my soon-to-be ex-spouse a few years later, I truly believed I had found the one. Both of us had a good time. Together, my husband and I raised a wonderful son. He encouraged me to pursue writing as a career and cheered me when I succeeded in sales and recognition. As he established himself professionally, I was there to back him up. Until the first day of labor, we were the best of friends on the team. I got up super early because insomnia is so much fun, and I was drinking coffee when I saw his phone on the table. I just can't explain why not. As a result, I chose to investigate further. Unfortunately, I did. I stumbled upon 2 burner phone numbers, another Reddit account containing dick photos and cum tribute messages from 6 sex workers, and updates from dozens of casual encounters with men. You could say I was taken aback, to say the least. Before he woke up, I had gathered a few screenshots but was completely exhausted. As much as I wanted to, I just couldn't bring myself to confront him. The following day, I combed through his computer and found that he had spent thousands of dollars on sex workers. He also kept a diary detailing his interactions over a decade. Later that day, I decided to confront him. He did not deny any of it, but when I asked him how long he had been cheating, he said 3 years instead of 10. Also, he didn't seem to care that the previous week had been terrible. The entire time, I had an aching stomach. Neither of my sleeping pills worked. My soon-to-be ex ignored me until last Friday when he awkwardly said he was sorry for hurting me. He was exploring his sexuality. Oh, and he has no problem with a polyamorous union. Give me an award for holding back from punching him in the face. There was absolutely no way for things to be made right. I put all of my faith in him. My life was destroyed in return. While I've been busy getting STD testing, a lawyer, and a new place to live since last Friday, my soon-to-be ex has continued his visits to sex workers and gay hookup sites. He acted as if he weren't. But when I pressed him on when he stopped loving me, he refused to respond except through third-party mediation. Because of this, I am convinced that he has never loved me. To put it bluntly, he married me because he had no choice. I was able to give him a good life, and we could have sex whenever we wanted. After wasting only 10 years on the first one, we've now wasted 31 on this F-wit. Even though I know this isn't my fault, it's hard to not feel like a worthless piece of junk that no one can ever love. In his responses, Trey offers words of encouragement. My ex-girlfriend cheated on me with men, trans women, and other guys. My 2 GSHVs for dishonesty were doubled. When I discovered what had happened, I also decided against reconciling and ended things immediately. I immediately cut off all communication and blocked him across the board. I wrote the following as a comment on another post, but since I haven't seen or talked to him, I'll also share it here. Unfortunately, I can't speak for anyone but myself. On the other hand, making amends was never a consideration. I briefly considered saying, no. Here's why I don't want to play mom, controller, or detective in my relationship. In order to stay, I knew I had to alter my perspective on our relationship as a whole. None of a man's decisions, past or present, are my business. He's an adult. We're both supposed to have agency in the relationship. Still, if I stayed, it would drain my emotional and mental strength reserves to try to anticipate his behavior. My partner, whose thoughts I cannot understand, has lost my trust. There's no reason for me to feel unsafe, so I have no interest in installing any monitoring equipment. I'm not going to put myself in harm's way like this because I care too much about the outcome. Staying would force me to accept a relationship that falls short of my ideals of love, trustworthiness, honesty, compassion, and kindness. I also anticipated my animosity toward him and my desire to humiliate and abuse him. And, to be perfectly frank, that is not the kind of person I am. As for me, I'd rather not be in a partnership like that. But I'm not violent like he is. I refuse to compromise my honor, my sense of worth, or the goodness and compassion of my heart. And now I'm single because I prefer solitude to his company, which isn't very good, and because I'm never really alone, to begin with. 3. To be exact. He denied me the chance to give thoroughly informed consent. I wasn't in a committed relationship with the person I thought I was. I made a conscious decision to center my identity within myself. I will never forgive him for this. It is a grave transgression in and of itself. If I'd known then what I know now about who he really was and what he was capable of, I never would have given him the time of day. He used deceit, manipulation, and pretending to get what he wanted from me. I think this covert abuse is the cruelest because he maintained control the entire time. When I consider who this man really is, I dislike him even more. Indeed, I hate people like him, and he tricked me into thinking he was someone else. And it repulses, disgusts, and terrifies me. 4. The man I once dated is 33 years old. That makes him an adult who must live with the consequences of his actions, as I mentioned earlier. Contrary to popular belief, I do not consider cheating an error or a string of errors. Personality defect, in my opinion. He would have to alter his character to suit my preferences and needs. First, most people don't change, and those who do will tell you from personal experience that it took a hell of a lot of work that I knew my ex wouldn't be capable of doing. Second of all, even if he could do so, I'm willing to wait around for this man to grow up, wasting more of my time while he works on himself. In fact, he should have been in peak physical condition and ready to go when we first met. When I first met him, you've already taken steps to ensure that you're entering this relationship as a mature adult who can handle her own affairs, hold meaningful conversations, be true to you, and treat your partner with kindness and respect. That said, I do expect reciprocity. The idea of dating a project makes me uncomfortable. It's not a priority for me right now. Fifthly, he made me look like an idiot. It's inexcusable how you treated me with such disdain and how little you valued my time, affection, and existence. Because of him, I became a pawn in his game. He was crueler to me than any of my enemies had been. He was abusive, cruel, and exploitative toward me. And I had no idea he was engaging in this behavior on my behalf. All the while, I was happy. I thought I was with a good man who loved me, and I trusted him. He had gone off the deep end and was violating our relationship. What you've done is so epic and low that I can't even begin making amends. There's a lot more to it than this, of course. Never will I look back and be sorry that I left. It's one of the things I'm most pleased with in my own life. Because of this, I gained an inner strength I hadn't known before. I became more confident in my own abilities to keep myself safe. I need to be able to fend for myself and not rely on anyone else. If I had stayed with him, I would have had to give up these things, and I cannot bring myself to do that. In case it does, I am compelled to share that with you. Your confidence shines through your writing. We must be kindred spirits. You aren't the only one experiencing this. I can certainly empathize. It breaks my heart that you've had to go through this. Opie, reassurance. You are not defective merchandise. You are a stunning human being who is deserving of nothing but happiness and adoration. To think that people can lead two lives like this right under the noses of their loved ones is horrifying. It's gross that they think they can trick us, too. All tangles are untied, and truths are exposed in due time. It's not just these two guys in the world. It's important to remember that the world is full of good, great, and unique people who would give anything for the people they love.